to get on fact, you guys know that I love Planet of the Apes. It's my favorite franchise, and I just love it, man. The Rise trilogy is my favorite trilogy, and in my opinion, is the best trilogy ever made. And I really think War for the Planet of the Apes is the best film ever made, followed closely by Dawn. And I also love the original Planet of the Apes movies, mainly the original 1968 Planet of the Apes. You guys know how much I love Planet of the Apes. They're my favorite movies, in my opinion, the best movies, and I just love Planet of the Apes. So when Disney bought 20th Century Fox in March 2019, and 1 month later in April 2019, they announced they would be continuing the Planet of the Apes franchise, I was kind of split at first. Because at first, we have very conflicting reports. Some were saying it was going to be a reboot, others were saying it was going to be a sequel, but by late 2020, we had it pretty much confirmed it was going to be a sequel. Which really turned me off and made me honestly really mad. Because I think the ending to War for Planet of the Apes is perfect. It is a perfect catch to a almost perfect trilogy. So a fourth Planet of the Apes just wasn't needed. So as years went by, we found out more about the film. I kept a very close track and made a video about these slightest updates we get. And before we had the first teaser back in 2023, this is what we knew. Matt Reeves would not be returning, who directed Dawn and War. Rick Joff and Amanda Silver, who wrote the previous trilogy, would be returning. We had a brief idea of the plot, and we knew that Wes Ball would be directing the film, who previously had directed the Maze Runner trilogy. But most importantly, we knew this film would be a continuation from War of the Planet of the Apes, but not a direct sequel, which made me feel a lot better. But I wasn't fully on board with the film just yet. I was so worried that Kingdom would tarnish a little bit of that trilogy, and that it just wouldn't be good. And I just didn't want that for my favorite franchise. Then we got the teaser, the official trailer, the TV spots, the final trailer, interviews, etc. As we kept learning and seeing more about the film, I was getting more excited. I was excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I thought it looked really good, maybe even great. And I was hoping it'd be great. So now I've been seeing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, thank God it's great. Amazing, fantastic. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is not only just a great film, it's a great Planet of the Apes film. It pays respect to the previous trilogy, as well as the rest of the Apes franchise in general, while also still being its own unique thing. And it's honestly a great continuation of the Rise trilogy. This film sees a young ape named Noah, and a clan of chimps called the Eagle Clan, which raise and train eagles. But another clan of apes kidnaps Noah's clan, which leads Noah to go on a journey to save his clan, while also learning more about the past. First of all, one of the biggest things I was worried about was the CGI. The Rise trilogy has the best CGI ever put on screen. Rise is pretty dated, but Dawn still holds up almost perfectly after 10 years. And War for the Planet of the Apes has the best CGI I've ever seen. It's actually stunning and photorealistic. Now, I'm one of those people who doesn't really care about CGI, at least how it looks. As long as it looks decent enough, I don't care if it doesn't look great. And you also know that I actually do prefer practical effects. But the CGI in the Rise trilogy looks so stunning that I actually prefer to practical effects. It looks better than practical effects. So I was worried that the effects in Kingdom would look poor to decent like in most films today. But the CGI in Kingdom is stunning. I don't quite think it's on the same level as War for the Planet of the Apes, but I will say some shots do get pretty darn close. But overall, I'd say it's probably a little bit better than Dawn. What they all say? The landscapes are gorgeous in this film. Seeing skyscrapers and human structures overtaken by nature is beautiful, but also terrifying. And as I mentioned, this film does a great job of continuing this world, without feeling like it's clinging on to the previous trilogy. The legend of Caesar is a constant shadow over this movie. Like some ape colonies have never even heard of Caesar. Some apes have twisted the teachings and the words of Caesar. And some apes are continuing to spread to keep on the legend and the true words of Caesar. It's so interesting how Caesar has gone from just being a very respected leader to like a religious figure. Like kind of like a myth, a legend. And yeah, I think going 300 years in the future was a very smart move. We still get to see how this world does continue, but it doesn't do anything to disrespect the trilogy. And the characters are very well written, very engaging. Noah is a very compelling character, and you really care and root for him. He's not just another Caesar, he's very different. I love the character Noah, and I can't wait to see where this character goes in the future. Another character I love, Raka, an orangutan that meets Noah early on in his journey. I think Raka is an engaging, well-written character. He also brings most of the humor to the film. There's an ant, there's an ant on the camera, there's an ant. Which I thought was fairly funny. Another character is May, which is one of the only and main human character of the film. And a lot of people are gonna be very split on this character. She's not a hero, but she's not an antagonist. She has her own mission, she's kinda doing her own thing. Now personally, I liked her character. I thought she was written pretty well. You understand her motivations and what she is doing. Now whether you actually agree on her motivations is up to you, I guess. There's also two mini-villains, those being Sylvia and Lightning. Sylvia being an honestly kinda scary gorilla. And my the only one that was kinda scared of Sylvia, cause like, bro's intimidating. Sylvia leads to a lot of intense scenes, and Lightning's a chimp. The guy electrocuted by electricity, so he's missing his hair. So overall, very fun character. Cool design, unique name, neat backstory. But of course, we gotta talk about him. What's gonna be a lot of people's favorite character in this movie? Proximus Caesar. A bonobo who's learning to pass by humans, and trying to use stuff like technology to further his reign as king. And his character is very entertaining. It is such a great villain. You disagree, but understand his motivations. I'm not saying he's Koba or anything, but he's still a fantastic and great villain. I do wish we got maybe a little more of him, as he is riding halfway through the film, but once he does get introduced, he takes the spotlight for every scene he's in. I also really like the characters of Suna and Anaya, which are two of Noah's friends. We get time with them and Noah hanging together at the beginning of the film and towards the middle of the film. How's the ant still alive? I've seen some people say they wanted more of them in the film with Noah, and yeah, to an extent I do agree with that, but I feel like it's gonna be a War and Dawn situation, to where in Dawn we didn't get a whole lot of Maurice and Rocket and Caesar together, but in War we did. So I feel like in the next Apes film, we're gonna get a lot more of Noah, Suna, and Anaya. And holy guacamole, the action in this film is actually incredible. Particularly in the third act, there's a big action sequence, and man, I love it. I'd say it's one of my favorite scenes in any movie. I also like what they do with the eagles. I like seeing the apes tame more animals other than just horses. And I'm interested to see what they do with that in further movies. And there are a few references to the Apes franchise. Nothing's gonna make somebody go, woohoo, they did it, baby! But you'll probably go, if you know it, you'll know it. I also like the score done by John Pisano. Yes, and Jay Goldsmith, Michael Giacchino, but you also got something new, you fresh, and unique. And I like that. And it's actually out now. You can go listen to it. Which I have been, and I gotta say, I really like it. And oh boy, we gotta talk about Wes Ball, this film's director. Wes Ball directed this movie amazingly. I always worried when he was announced as director, because all he does is the Maze Runner trilogy, which I do think is enjoyable, but not Planet of the Apes quality. But man did an amazing job with this film. From now on, if he's the director of something, I'm gonna be like 8% more likely to go check it out. I also like the ending. It closes the door to this story, but opens another one to make room for a sequel. And I really have one criticism with the film, and that's the pacing. It gets a bit wonky around the second to third act. Like you can't really tell where the second act ends and the third act begins. But I think the rest of the film makes up for that one little thing. I absolutely love Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I think it's great. I'm honestly debating whether I think it's better than Dune Part 2. Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards that I think it actually might be better than Dune Part 2. So I highly recommend Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. But now, we're getting to spoilers. So if you don't want Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes to be spoiled for you, click off the video. First of all, I'm not entirely sure if I love how Rocka was killed off. The scene itself, I loved. It's actually one of my favorite scenes from the movie. And of course, Rocka dying was sad and emotional, but I would have liked Rocka to meet Proximus Caesar. They both know of Caesar, but one's twisting his legacy, while the other's using it for good. And I would have loved the interaction between those two characters. And maybe even Proximus could have killed Rocka. I feel like that would have been an emotional scene. It would have made Proximus even more threatening. And also, the entire scene where the bunker just floods, actually amazing. It was intense, entertaining, and yeah, the beginning almost made me cry. I'm sure if it hadn't been 7 years since war, I would have started bawling. Seeing the funeral of my favorite fictional character really hit me. But I also loved seeing Caesar, Maurice, Rocket for probably the final time. And now that we know that there's groups of humans like all across the world that are intelligent, I'm very intrigued for what's happening in the sequel with that. Then we have a few moments in the film where characters looking up into space. Maybe some OG Planet of the Apes stuff. You know, maybe some spaceships, who knows? But as I mentioned, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's great, it's great, it's great. And right now, it looks like Planet of the Apes is in good hands. Bye guys for now! Bye, Scarlet Thacker.